Okay, so we are now recording as always so that we can share the presentation with any of those registrants that were unable to join us today. So welcome. This is September 9th. Time is really moving upon us. This is my second to last presentation. So next Wednesday will be my last Wednesday webinar in this series. The very last day we have a guest speaker. So I'm looking forward to that. I will still join you all the way through, but next week will be my last presentation. So, and I've enjoyed doing this thoroughly and getting to meet all of the participants that have visited us, week upon week. So tonight we are going to talk about tech tools to grow your business. Once again, I'm Bertha Robinson, business coach and consultant with Star One Professional Services, and we help business owners get unstuck. So all these conversations that we've been having week after week are conversations and issues that we as business owners all face, and that some of my clients have been struggling with, especially now in COVID-19, as to how we can move forward. So having conversations is what I'm all about. So if you'd like to visit me at my website or reach out to me, I'd be happy to chat with you, talk with you, and maybe even walk you through any kind of issues so that you can grow your business successfully. So for our journey today, I'm going to apologize in advance because I'm not usually a lot of text heavy in my presentations, but there's just so many different ways that you can really optimize and automate your business and use technology. So I really wanted to use this presentation more like a handout, I'm going to say. So since at the end of the presentation tonight, and when you get your thank you email, I should say, you will get a copy of this presentation so that you'll be able to go back to it. And then all the different tips, and I've given examples of some of softwares and tools that are available to you. I don't endorse anyone in particular. I'm not getting paid by anyone in particular. When we get to some of those, I'll share the ones that I'm actually using in my business that I like, and I'll share some that I know some peers that are using. So I will just go through them that way. There's not any one size fits all. As a matter of fact, on my second to last slide, I kind of talk a little bit about experimentation. You have to figure out what works best for you and your business and your team and your industry, and then test it out and see, what helps. It may be something that helps you now where your business is at this stage, that in the future you may outgrow and may not need that anymore. And you'll just be able to just hire someone to do that efficiently and effectively for you instead. So first slide, and on our journey today, we're going to talk about all kinds of different strategies, but this is, I think, a little encapsulation of what we should really be doing. Utilizing social media, optimizing all kinds of mobility, whether it's using the same tools that you find on your desktop, laptop, tablet, and on your phone so that you can always be on the move, always being able to access at least your email and voicemail. Taking advantage of cloud-based technology. There's so many different things out there. There's high quality voice over IP systems that you can use. Don't be afraid of video, and I don't think people are afraid of video. I think that people are afraid of themselves in video. So overcome that, mess up a few times or a lot of times, and get out of your comfort zone, because video is where it's at in a lot of ways. We're going to talk about it. It's going to probably come up in most of the slides. Video and maybe even mobility. You may see those words over and over again. Incorporating online reviews. That's a great, easy way of having other people do the work for you, and learn how to better use analytics. And when I say analytics, it's really just what's out there. What is the data telling you? When we talked about market research, I talked about Reference USA, and that's analytics. That is data that you can use that can really inform you in what direction you should go so that you can get closer to your target market. Same thing here with the analytics. What is the data telling you that's working or what's not working? That's all that is. So we're going to break it down into a few categories today, and I'm going to go over productivity, right? How can you boost your productivity so that you can get more out of our day? Remote, mobile working, and telecommuting. And those are really three different things, but it feels like one when you're in a pandemic and we're all sheltered in place. So we're all really doing some form of that or all of the above nowadays. Development, collaboration, and learning. And this is something that's close to my heart. It's what I do. I do professional development. We constantly got to go into development and learn more, collaborate more, and learn everything that's out there that's available to us that will help us. Customer loyalty, how can we use any kind of technology? You know, what are the tools out there that help us to boost our customer service? Marketing, which we talked, I think, about a few of those bullet points that we'll discuss today. So it may be a review from our last talk on marketing. And then the financials. And I left the financial slide for last because, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to have a guest at our very last webinar series for this summer / almost fall. And she will be talking about financials. So I'm leaving that one for last, but we're going to go over it in depth. And as always, any questions you have, comments, if you want to share them in the chat, feel free. If you'd like to just, you can interrupt, feel free to interrupt. This is a great way to engage and ask your question on the spot. Or at the end, I always give a little bit of time for us to have some more commentary and Q&A. So feel free to share it then. So remote, mobile working, and telecommuting. Okay, that's what we're all doing nowadays from home, sheltered in place from somewhere. So working productively from anywhere, you know, having a remote office. I think that this first bullet speaks to what we're doing, but maybe what we can do is how do we optimize it? How do we make our space even more productive? What tools can we use? Software can we use that we can make it even easier for us to do business? I love automating. Anything that I can automate that can help me do things right on time so I'm not late, earlier, even better. And again, so that it leads to customer service or to get in front of my market, that's a win-win. So we are all sheltered in place. We are all working from home. Many have probably had a hybrid, so some may have gone back to offices. If we have brick and mortar businesses, you've opened up your businesses slowly but surely. Some of them have. But you may have some kind of mix still going on. What can you do to make it productive so that it's not draining you, but so that you get some real good effectiveness and efficiency? Number 2, try a remote desktop application to access files on your office computer. So during the early days, I'm going to say, or the early months of the pandemic, there were a lot of clients that said, you know, I didn't have access to any of the things that are still in my office. I couldn't get to them. So you don't ever want to be in a situation where you can't access something just because it's in a different physical location. So having some kind of remote desktop application, cloud-based saving, where you can get to your files that you need to still service your clients or to get your product or service out is really important. So if that applies to you and your industry and your business, you know, investigate it. There are great videos out there. You can start with some basic platforms, something as simple as even starting with a Microsoft Office or any of those competitors that are out there. Research and see what works for you, but you don't ever want to be in a situation where you can't access files because they're just in a different physical space. You know, this has been an example for us of how we can stretch ourselves and be ready in a crisis. So if anything, we've been prepared now for any other crisis that comes our way in terms of stretch and flex. Go paperless to save money on supplies and storage, you know, in your office. And also, you know, it's green, so it's great to be environmentally sound. So if you're able to go paperless in any way you can, go for it. I know that in my business, I've actually gone paperless in terms of checks. I'm not writing checks, and I try not to receive checks. Not only is it a green move, but also because of the increase with so much fraud, sending a check out there with your account number and routing number is easy for those that are preying on those that are still using checks. So just be very mindful of that. Talk to your business bankers to see if there are any other options. There are some banks that offer options that give you what I call dummy checks so that they don't show visibly your check and route, your checking account or any of your account numbers and routing numbers. So paperless is really a good way to go. Getting a virtual phone number is another great thing, so that you can always be connected, always be found. E-fax, if people are still faxing, most people are scanning and emailing. And then you're able to always be reached. Also, you can, with a voice over IP, or even with old school forwarding systems, you can have any kind of landline system, it really get forwarded to your mobile, so that you're always on the move and always reachable. When someone wants to call you, they've landed on your website, you've done all that wonderful marketing, you don't want to miss a call. So you have it set up in such a way where you are available and accessible in the times and when you want to be reached. And use your smartphone, as it says here, and select apps that could sync with the cloud. Another great way, so not just remote desktop, but also to your mobile phone, your smartphone, so that when you're on the go, you can access anything that may have been even updated by the teams in real time. Okay, so productivity. Time tracking software is an excellent tool for mapping out where time is spent, who, and a good example for me is just my basic Outlook. I use Outlook as my tracking software. I use that Outlook calendar for everything, not just appointments, but everything that I have to get done, tasks that need to get done, people that I'm speaking to, activity that I want to get to. Even for my own professional development, I schedule that in there. Self-care is in my calendar. So everything is synced, so I don't miss appointments. I don't miss things that I need to do, that someone is waiting on me. And then I prioritize them. So if it's not something that's an appointment, I add it to any given day whenever I want to make that happen. So if I have certain tasks that need to be done that week, I add them to my Monday, and I assign it as an all-day time slot. So it's something that's going to appear at the very top of the calendar. And then as I complete those, I either put an X on it, or I number them so that they can roll down in order. And if it's something that is not done that day, I just carry it over to the next day, or whenever it is that I want to visit it again. But everything's on my main calendar. And my Outlook calendar is also syncs to my mobile smartphone, so that I can always see my calendar. Streamline your work process with digital dictation. And I put all smartphones. All smartphones have the ability for dictation. So if there's, instead of writing it down on a piece of paper that you then have to then transfer somewhere else, maybe to a calendar or to do the actual activity, if you put it in your phone, you have your phone set a reminder as well that it allows you to go and do the activity, so that it helps with productivity and you can stop procrastination. And then you just go tackle it, and then you can delete it from your phone once it's done. And you can have that sync as well. Project management and task management tools to stay on top of your daily business responsibilities. So depending on how many hands are in the project, who you have to delegate to, project management tools are really great to use for that. Again, I use my calendar for my instance, but if there's something else that is out there that's available for someone who's working with multiple teams, whether they're in teams or cross-functional teams or even cross-company teams, there are so many tools that you can use. And some of them are free and low cost, so it's great to investigate. Create a digital filing system to make it easier to sort, save, and share, and also find documents. So it's a filing system, and it's also a sharing system. And the one I'm talking about is Slack. I love Slack. You can use that to really eliminate and decrease the number of emails that go back and forth. I can count just in a given day how many emails go back and forth just on confirmations of things that people have received. Thank you, got it, received, read it, and then you got to send it back to the other person, then you get their response. You can really cut down on that if you use something similar to a Slack tool. Okay, develop an efficient email management process, as I mentioned earlier, that makes it easier to stay on top of the flow of messages and also activity. So you could do the same thing. You can actually, going back to the email management, there's something called Zero Inbox. I'm not familiar with the ins and outs of it, but someone did present it to me, and it sounds like it's really great for people who are getting fewer than 100 emails a day. If it's more than 100, emails that you're getting on a daily basis, then you probably have to go to a different system. But if you Google or do some research on zero inbox, that might be a method that may be helpful to you in terms of email management. So customer loyalty, what kind of tools, tech tools are available to make sure that you have your customers smiling, that they're still happy, that customer service is at its best? Of course, using social media to conduct customer service so that if they want to get back to you, give you feedback, there was some kind of mistake, error, size, quantity, color, whatever it may be, you want to be able to have a platform that customers can reach you right away. I know we've all been, and as a matter of fact, I have a complaint today of a company that I do business with all the time. And when I call, the first thing is you get into a queue. And then once you're in the queue, they prompt you to tell you what number you need to press to get to what department. You press the number and then you get to the wrong department. Then you get there and then you have to authenticate yourself all over again. And then they say, okay, instead of pressing X number, press this number to get to the next department. And it's this revolving circle that never ends, and you can't ever get your issue resolved. You don't want that. Social media is quick. I was in line at Walmart one time, and the lines were ridiculously long. There was something that was not going right in my perspective, in my experience, and I tweeted out to Walmart, and immediately I got a phone call back in line. So I don't know if that always happens, but social media is quick and it's great for customer service. And it makes you, back to being unique, it differentiates you from your competition if they don't have that. Set up an online help desk or ticket system to handle customer issues. So if you're big enough to do that, that's something that you want to invest in. You know, setting up a help desk is great. You want to make sure that you optimize that process though, so that you don't fall into that same routine at that company that I called, where you're calling in and you get into the wrong queue. So you want to be able to do that. That isn't an efficient and an effective way to handle customer loyalty, setting up an online help desk. And it's actually kind of easy also nowadays, depending on what platform you have in your customer relationship module. There are some ways that you can actually have pop-ups right from your website that can be a help desk for your customers, depending on what your service and product is. So allow clients to schedule appointments online at their convenience. That's easy as well from your website. I know I use something called Calendly, and I have a little link on my homepage. As a matter of fact, it's on every page of my website, and it points right to, you know, it's, for me, it's just a complimentary 30-minute consultation, but you can set it up for any time frame, and it syncs up with your calendar so that you never have a double booking. And also you have a copy of it immediately when someone books with you, you'll get a notification in your email, and it also is copied into your calendar. So if you're using, you know, a virtual assistant, or you have an assistant that works with you, everyone will be on the same page to see what's going on in your calendar. And then the use of online surveys and questionnaires to get customer feedback is another great way. As long as people fill it out. I'm finding that, you know, SurveyMonkey is something that I've used, and sometimes you have to send it a few times. Maybe most of you can attest to this if you've attended any kind of Zoom virtual like we're doing tonight, and they send you a feedback form, and then maybe you don't answer the first time, or maybe they didn't get the same the population or responses that they wanted. They send it out a second time. You have to kind of prompt your audience to please fill out the feedback forms. But it's a great way, again, low cost or no cost way of getting feedback and research. Development, collaboration, and learning. So using web-based platforms to ensure that your internal and external customers are on the same page. What kind of platforms? Well, we're on one now. There's Zoom, there's Microsoft Teams, Start Meeting, Free Conference Call, WebEx, you name it. There's all different web-based platforms that are out there. And the internal and external customers are just your teams, your employees, and your customers and clients. And you want to make sure that everyone's on the same page so you can actually set up Face-to-face virtual meetings, I find them to be the best. You can always pick up the phone, but you don't get the same level of engagement as when you're seeing somebody. So that's really a great platform that, you know, is available to us in so many different ways. Expand your knowledge and empower your teams with online business training. There's so many different e-learning systems. It's great because you can do them self-paced at your own time. You can start it, stop it, pause it, go back. And again, it's like I said in the beginning, it's part of my passion, professional development and development in general. To get to know more and wearing that student hat, you really want to be able to share that with your teams. It helps if you actually set up some kind of informational, I'm going to say, watchboard where you can have everyone know what the vision and mission is, where it is that you're going. So there's so many ways that you can do that if you have larger teams that you want to share, you know, an announcement with. There's a great way that you can do that all through online business training and education-based systems. So I really invite you to research that and to use that, if it's for multiple teams or even just for yourself. And then we mentioned this before, I used the example of Slack, and you'll see that over and over again. I really am a fan of it. But any kind of cloud-based system where you can share files and data, whether it's yourself with your clients or yourself in your teams or collaborators, it's really a great way to go, and you can really eliminate the number of emails. Setting up an intranet for local file sharing. So if you're within one location and you have an intranet system, you can do that. That's cloud-based as well. That would also decrease the number of files that are going back through emails, and that can really help you with your efficiency. And then communicate quickly and clearly with your team through messaging. Again, cloud-based, or you could use Slack as well. I keep promoting Slack, right? I'm not getting paid by Slack, but I just love the platform. It's really a great way to engage. I have multiple Slack networks that I'm a part of in one application. And you can go back and share articles and documents and files and, of course, feedback. And you can set up different groupings for it. So investigate, see what's out there, see what competitors are out there, and go with what works best for you. So for marketing, you know, what tools are out there for marketing? There's so many. Of course, social media, it's my second bullet here, but you want to definitely be in some kind of social media platform where your target audience lives. So if your target audience is in the TikTok space and not on LinkedIn, then you wouldn't be on LinkedIn. You'd be where your audience is at TikTok. So just knowing where your market is where you need to live and be and have your products and services there. But the first one that I have here is to use a software to create a marketing plan that you can edit, update, and share. So when we talked about marketing, I don't think I shared this, but dreambuilder.org, it's specifically from women's business centers. It's a phenomenal website where, and again, it's a free platform where you can create everything nuts and bolts about a business plan, marketing plan, and how you can set goals and move forward. But there are so many different areas where you can use software and tools. So the tools that I think of are as simple as something in Excel and something in a Word document. Use those as tools before even thinking of downloading a whole software package. But there's software that's already in place in most of our computer systems, whether you have a Mac-based, an Apple-based, or a Windows-based PC or laptop, that you can use the tools that are already on the system and then just create your marketing that way. But it's great to automate. It's great to create a plan with templates and tools that are already there. So I also listed the Small Business Administration, SBA, and the SBDC, the Small Business Development Centers, also offer some really great tools, applications, and templates to help you create that marketing plan. The third one, I'm going to jump to number 3 since I talked about the social media, is blogging and vlogging related to your business and target audience. You really don't want to miss that opportunity. It's easy to just share a blog or video log with your target market about what's new in your industry or something that you have an expertise on. And this is where your marketing mix comes into play. So you can do all of these, all of the above, or just a few, whatever works best for you. But you definitely want to take an opportunity to share your expertise in a blog, which is, you know, like a mini newsletter, something that you can really get out there and use your social media to promote and push your blog and vlog. And then number 4, almost everybody has an email. You know, there are very few people that don't have an email. Even my young children have email addresses. So collecting email addresses through an opt-in form and start utilizing some type of email marketing. I mentioned here MailChimp, Constant Contact is CC. I use Zoho. There are so many different ones that are out there that you can really send out with their permission. So you have to use an opt-in form. And you can really send them out information that's specific to you and your business and how you can help solve their issue with your service or your product. So making sure you're opting in, that's important. You must follow that. That's a federal law, FTC rule, that you must ask permission, right, to use your email. And then also giving them an option to opt out if they choose to unsubscribe. And then number 5, using video marketing. So here I have 2 small ones. Vidyard and Loom are great ways for you to take small snippet videos and embed them, whether it be on your website or in an email. Emails that have a video in them have a higher open rate. And not just the link. So I'm not saying it's a link that someone has to click through and then open up a tab in a website or a web browser and then see the video. But literally there's a little snapshot and there's a thumbnail and they can see a face and maybe even a message that you're holding up or that you've written out, a little tailored, personalized message. And it's just a few short minutes, you know, maybe a minute and a half, something quick, where the person now can either remember you because they've met you before or they're being introduced to you for the first time through a video. Really great high rate of open rate for emails, and it makes you, again, stand out from the crowd. So Vidyard and Loom, those are 2. But of course, you can use other kinds of video marketing. You know, there's a little company, I don't know if it's well known, it's called YouTube. So you could do videos on YouTube, and of course there's Vimeo. So again, like I said earlier, don't be afraid of being on video. Try it out, test it out. You know, maybe find a collaborator, a peer, you know, someone who is an accountability partner that you can test it out with. I'd be happy to, you know, test out videos with you if you want to just try them out on me. I'll give you some really good feedback. And it's just great because it sets you apart, it makes you different. And we all have something that we have as an expertise on, you know, that we want to share. And also it makes you, you know, real. People can relate to video. So they'd rather see a video than read something and not really know who it's coming from. So you want to be able to connect to your audience, and you can do that through video. And then promote your business with a website and or online advertising. So very familiar. We know that most people have a business website. If you don't have one yet and you're working your way there, that's great. Again, not necessarily mandatory for all businesses. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I have a relative who has a very successful baking company, and she doesn't have a website. I don't think she's started a website yet, but she's doing very well from just Instagram. So visuals, right? Video, pictures of all her beautiful baked creations, beautiful cakes and pastries, and even pictures of herself that people can connect to, see the person behind the brand, and see the branding and all the images of the wonderful creations that she makes. And she's promoting and selling through Instagram. So it's not necessarily a must-have nowadays because social media is such a powerful force. So, but it's a great thing because it does legitimize, in some eyes, the business. So if someone's looking for you, like a Google search, which again, that's another way of marketing. We talked about reviews. They're gonna wanna find that business. So Google My Business is another opportunity for you to find yourself, and have others find you as well. So maybe it's a standalone closed website and doesn't have to be a very complicated one, but weigh it out and see what works best for you, your product, and your service. The financials, very important that you have very clear, concise, accessible financials. You know, how many businesses and business owners may have wanted to apply for an economic injury disaster loan, an EIDL loan, EIDL, or the Paycheck Protection Program, or the New Jersey, the NJEDA grant. And when they knew they needed to fill out this form, but they needed the financial documentation to prove it, to back it, or to relate those, refer to those numbers from last year, didn't have those numbers, didn't have those records, didn't have those reports. So it's really important that we have our financials. So I'm looking forward to our guest that will be speaking in 2 weeks. So not next week, but the week after, on the finances and your business financials. So using an online invoicing service to reduce the cost of collecting payments from customers. So there's so many different ways today that you can invoice a customer. You can even use something as simple as PayPal, where you can create an invoice in there and have it sent, you know, electronically to your customers and your clients. You can go to something as complicated, or really it's not complicated, because I personally love it. Not getting paid, not really promoting it, but really QuickBooks Online is a great base to go from. So it's what I use for all my invoicing. And then actually I can also do automated budgeting, as this is in number 2, to track and keep on top of your expenses and also lower your expenses, because you can see where you're on target and where you're far off. And you can do that by looking into your financials. And I happen to use QuickBooks, but there's lots of great, there's FreshBooks, there's actually Zoho Books. So there's all kinds of bookkeeping and online financial systems available. And then file your taxes more efficiently online. You can do that, of course, in collaboration with your accountant. And that's an easy thing to do. You can do e-signatures. So most of you, I'm sure, are aware, but if you're not, it's easy also to learn and to investigate. Create a new income stream by selling your products online, e-store. Number 4 really should have been number 1, only because of where we are today in this pandemic. You really have an opportunity and a fair share in this market, right, called the World Wide Web. You know, we are in an opportune seat right now, where if you don't have a product or a service that's online, you can think about how you can make that shift in your business to offer something online. So I don't know if I gave this example yet in this series, but even if you are a nail salon and you are, you know, used to engagement, person-to-person engagement with your clients who come to get their manicures and pedicures, you know, whatever else they get done at your nail salon, how about you offer something online, like classes and tutorials on how to care for your nails, on how to care for your hands, and how to properly apply nail polish, and the do's and the don'ts. And there's just so many different tips that you can offer. So maybe it's a video, back to video. Maybe it's actually a blog. Maybe it's a newsletter. And then when they subscribe to be, you know, a follower, maybe you'll write, you know, small white paper or a small newsletter or a small book, an ebook on, you know, care, you know, how to care for your skin, the skin on your nails, the skin on your hands, pardon me. You know, there are all so many different ways that you can position yourself depending on how big you can think. So there isn't any industry, I don't think, that can't sell something online and have a valid link to your business. It's just another way of bringing traffic back to you and what you do. So, you know, an online e-store is really a great way to go. Maybe you package classes, maybe you package an actual product that you sell, but there's always a way that you can shift to an online e-store. So number 5, Using a comprehensive accounting software. So we talked about this to streamline your business finances. I mentioned QuickBooks, there's FreshBooks, there's Zoho Books, there's all many different ways that you can use software. And at the push of a button, it really gives you peace of mind that you can push a button and see where you are year to date, you know, or in this quarter or month to date. You can see, you know, where are your receivables? Who do you have to reach out to? Who do you have to send a friendly reminder, letting them know that they have an outstanding invoice, you know, that needs to be paid? You know, you can use it. I know of someone that uses their accounting system or accounting software as their CRM, their customer relationship management system. So as opposed to having a separate system, all of your client contact information is also in your accounting software. So it's a way for her to still connect with her clients just using the same software system she's already using. So it's another great way to be efficient. And then sharing digital files with your bookkeeper or accountant to improve your own bookkeeping process. Again, what I personally use happens to be QuickBooks. It's easy because I've linked in my bookkeeper and my accountant. So if there's anything that they need to see, they have access, or I can actually send something over to them just again by the push of a button. So it's really great. It's freeing, it's liberating. I don't have to really stress about it. Like in my old days, my old head, I used to use a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, which I thought had everything, but it wasn't connected to any real data. I couldn't really generate the reports that I can generate today at the push of a button because it really was one-dimensional, as opposed to the financial software being really 3- and 4-dimensional, because it pulls from my banking system live. It's telling me things that I've received. It's showing me trends on certain products and services that I am selling and promoting, and what's working, what's not. And it tells a whole story based on that software, as opposed to just having a spreadsheet. It's just showing me numbers that are static and fixed to a certain point. So it doesn't really tell me the full story. So something, again, for us to all look into as to how we can learn more and use these tools more efficiently to help grow our businesses. And then lastly, again, do what works best for you. What is it that you need to do? How do you need to experiment? How do you need to test it so that you know that this is something that's really going to work for you? You don't have to go out there and spend a lot of money. There's low cost or no cost. Use all of those resources that are available to you that I mentioned, the SBDC, the SBA. I think I've mentioned SCORE in the past. Have a conversation right here with your local special improvement district and find out what it is that you can do for your business that can help you grow by using a lot of these tools that are available to give you a little bit more freedom. You don't want to always be, as it says in the book, the E-Myth, you know, the technician in the business. You eventually want to grow to continue to push forth what your vision is for your business so that you can kind of let go a little bit of certain things, automate them, maybe even delegate them to someone else, and then focus on growing the business, making more money, creating more relationships so that you can have really a good sustainable model for your business. So I hope that's been helpful to you. I want to thank you, and now I'm going to open it up for Q&A and discussion. Anyone want to share what tools you're using to help you grow your business? I'd love to hear it. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
The internet.
Hey, Antoinette. How are you today?
Okay. So presently, I'm just using like the basic social media, the Facebook, the email, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to know, like, how many hours are in your day